Hey, remember back in '93 when Ryan thought Shockmaster was going to be a future world champion?
The modern day wrestling god! What?
And that's why, Jack, you're so smart.
Now back to Jack and Ryan on the MonsterCast.
It's the Continental Classic, baby. Let's fucking go.
You know what's crazy? Why didn't they have an announcement?
For this shit forever.
Why was there no announcement that there was an announcement?
Yeah, he trolled you. He told
weird.
you all. He didn't announce an announcement for an announcement. He got you all.
But that was actually pretty.
Here
That would be one that's big enough to be like, we have an important
job.
announcement.
Loved it. He said, you know what? You don't want no more announcements for announcements? If you won't watch the show, you're gonna miss a fucking announcement now. So fuck you. That's great. And the announcement was great. Continental Classic, which is their version of the G1 round robin tournament, 12 people, 6 people in each league or group or whatever. I think he used the word league. And it will culminate at the new December pay-per-view World's End. So yeah, round robin style tournament, and it starts on Dynamite this week, I believe, as well. And I've been saying I hope that they just created their own G1 every time we started talking about fucking Bryan Danielson going over to do a G1. I was like, why don't they just create their own? They got enough fucking people. And yet, here we are. And you want to do it on his fucking last year of wrestling. So we can go ahead and say
he's
that
injured. What are we doing here?
Fucking injured. Hell, this man, he announced Danielson for All In 2. You think he wasn't supposed to be at All In 1? What makes you think he's going to not be injured at All In 2 going into All In 2? After this tournament, you're just going to give him the rest of the fucking time off until we get to September?
Well, that's the crazy thing, too. It's like, okay, Danielson has a broken orbital bone right now. By the way, he's going to be in our version of the G1. After that, he's going to be wrestling at Wrestle Kingdom against Okada again. And then, yeah, by the way, we're promising he's going to be good for, like, All In 2. I mean, they're running this man
Promising
ragged.
he's going to be at All In 2 is ballsy. I'm just going to throw that out there. Anyway, let me go ahead. Let me finish this real quick. Okay, so my only reservations about this is because I am worried somewhat that it won't be as stacked as the G1 is as far as talent goes. When they had, well, not when they branched out, when they got so many people now that you can throw in a Toriano and Honda and shit like that.
How's wrong with Toriano?
And other people that you know is not going to win type deal. But before, when the G1 was, you know, fucking 12 people, 16 people, 8 people, whatever, and it was fucking stacked. You're seeing Okada, Tanahashi, Naito, Omega, all in the same fucking, like, half of them are all, like, dudes that you're like, holy shit, who's going to win this? AEW should not have this problem. They should have a stacked 12-person roster. It shouldn't be the case at all that we have to think about this. But if you looked at some of their past battle royals and shit like that, that gives me reason to pause. It was nice to not see any disappointment on social media for what the announcement was. Agree, like everybody is on board with this. Now, I will say that will end if they come out there and fucking say Chuck Taylor is in this. I'm just letting you know. People will be getting pissed if you don't. I like Chuck Taylor. Don't start your shit. I'm just saying that we know Chuck Taylor's not winning the fucking Continental Classic. He don't need to be one of the 12 guys. Is all I'm saying. I love Chuck Taylor. Chucky T, baby.
You don't know.
I love
he
him,
could turn it up.
But that's not who we want in this. That's not.
I think he's injured right now anyway. But
yeah, I'm just saying. Well, I don't want Darby in it either.
I don't either. That was the one that okay, so when Tiger Style Pro posted his 12, that's the one I switched out.
Who'd you switch him out for?
Jeff Jarrett, baby.
Oh my god. No, he's not at mine either. Oh my god, that's so bad. That's so bad. Let me find what mine were. Real quick. We're going to fantasy book this. Let's fantasy book it. All right, we're going to switch over. Monster fantasy booking for the Continental Classic. Okay, so do you have any reservations about who they're going to use in this?
I think there's no way to book it with 12 guys that you think all have an equal chance of winning. I'll say that.
Oh, I do. Not with the fucking social media fan base out here. No, because they'll be bitching about every little fucking thing. Especially because AEW doesn't like to book DQs, countouts, shit like that. They like to book straight up finishes for the most part, especially in this style type stuff. Like you don't really see a lot of countouts or DQs in tournaments, and they've had a lot of tournaments. But I guess I could point to the Owen Hart Foundation this last year too. Like we knew who the fuck the final two were going to be when they announced those brackets. Like I don't want that. I don't want you to, I do not want to see Danielson and fucking 5 Nick Waynes in his bracket, and then I'm just being real, and 5 Nick Waynes in his bracket, and then on the other side I see like Hangman Page and 5 AR Foxes in his bracket. I just don't want to see that, because you know who's going to win. I want there to be, okay, let me find mine. And I'm not throwing shade at any of those dudes. I'm just saying where they're positioned at on the card and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Currently is obviously is into this. Now I do have a couple. Where the fuck is my shit? Oh, here we go. Group A. Now I do have a couple that I threw in there, like a Yano and a Honda. They're not comedy wrestlers, but
there's
they're
nothing
guys that
wrong
could
with
get
Yano.
upset.
I don't know why you keep saying Yano. Okay, Yano.
They could, because Yano always starts off strong and then just fizzles out. That's why. So
he's got an endurance problem. It doesn't mean he's not a good wrestler.
Okay, well, I don't know if any of these dudes are going to have endurance problems. But I got Group A. I've got Roosh, Brian Cage, Swerve, Adam Page, Claudio, and Dalton Castle. Okay?
So you don't think Page fits as one of the guys that you just know immediately isn't going to win?
No. I could easily see him losing to Claudio Roosh. He's had a crazy trilogy with Brian Cage. He just lost to Swerve last pay-per-view. Yeah, he could easily rack up losses in that group.
No, that's what I'm saying. Cage, you're putting him in as somebody that you know isn't going to win. I'm saying all 12
I just
people,
said that I did put 2 people in.
I see that. But listen, why wouldn't you have 12 people, because they can do this, 12 people that all could win?
Because
if you put Cage in there, he's not going to win.
Listen, this is how I did it, okay? I'm going to answer this question. This was critical thinking. Who is involved with minor storylines without titles? I added into this. Who I've missed that should be highlighted more? You'll see that, like a Brian Cage, for instance. And who are currently not already vying for the world title, like Omega just did, like Samoa Joe is currently doing, like Wardlow's going after. I didn't include any of those guys.
But I think it makes sense to put those guys in, because then that gives them a storyline reason to have a shot at
No, I don't agree with that, because they're already in a major storyline for the world title. That's an ongoing thing with MJF, whereas these guys are like right below that and deserve to be on a weekly fucking TV basis. In my Group B, Danielson, Miro, Andrade, Hobbs, Scorpio Sky, and Lance Archer.
Scorpio Sky.
Yes, someone that can go, that can steal wins from other people, and that is not featured prominently enough on TV.
Okay.
I almost threw Sean Spears in there too, but I didn't know who I wanted to take out.
Mine would be Danielson, obviously.
You can't just throw Danielson, Omega, Jay White. That's not how this works. Jay White's already fighting.
Doesn't matter.
Like, fucking full gear for the title. You have to put some kind of fucking actual thought process into this. And you're not going to have Omega and Jay White go in there and then not come out.
Why not?
Because you can only have 2 people come out.
I understand that.
That's not, you're not going to just.
That's how it is in the G1 too. You got Naito and fucking people not coming out of that
that's
sometimes
not
too.
how that's going to work. Okay, so.
How many G1s have you watched?
First, a lot.
And so have I. And I can tell you, they have really high guys in there that don't necessarily come out.
And they don't have really high guys in there. And you're trying to do all high guys, which is you can't do.
Yes, you can. But here's the thing, too.
You're telling me that none of these dudes deserve to be in this fucking tournament?
I wouldn't put Scorpio Sky in there, and it's not anything to do with him. It's just they haven't been booking him to do shit lately.
That's my point. Why shouldn't they book him, though?
Because it's a Continental Classic.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, my point is that I think right now, I can tell you right now, Danielson's winning this fucking thing. I'd put all my money on Danielson winning this. There's no way you're going to have your first ever one, and you know he's not coming back for any future ones because this is his last year in wrestling. I already think that this is phoned in. That Danielson's winning.
It's his last full-time year in wrestling.
He's not coming back just to wrestle a fucking round robin tournament, dude. That's not how that works.
He might.
That's not how that works.
He might.
You know what he could do? The next Continental Classic, whoever wins the whole fucking thing, then he comes out and be like, you should put your Continental Classic thing on the line against me since I won the first one. And then just come back for the one match instead of doing the whole fucking round robin.
Trying to skip the line. So mine, I've got Danielson, Swerve, Hangman, Cassidy, Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, I'm not putting Cassidy in because he's the current international champion. Just can't do it. Almost put Penta in. I really wanted to put Penta in. In fact, if I took Scorpio Sky out, I would put Penta in his spot.
Okay, but again, when we're comparing it to the G1, their secondary champions are always in the G1. So what do you mean?
Yes, but I wouldn't do that here because your roster is more stacked than New Japan.
But the reason that you do it is to set up matches for that secondary title after
These
the tournament's
matches are
over.
already set up that I have in here. That's why I have fucking Swerve, Adam Page, and Brian Cage all in the same bracket. And then on the other one, I've got Miro and Andrade all in the same bracket. And who doesn't want to see Miro and Hobbs again in a meat fest? Again, that's why they're in the same bracket.
All right, so I got Danielson, Swerve, Hangman, Cassidy, Jeff Jarrett, Miro, and then Omega, Roosh, Claudio, Jay White.
Omega is not
Monster.
doing this.
Takeshita.
I promise you. I'd be shocked if Omega's name pops up in this.
Yeah,
Shocked.
well, he lost his match against MJF, so now he's got to find a way to get back to the belt.
I'd be excited, but then I'd be like, instant Danielson and Omega at the same time in a fucking G1 style tournament.
That's
And if,
why
it is,
they're in
if it's
different
as
blocks,
stacked
baby.
as you want it to be,
Yep.
they're going to get fucked up in this thing. You
Yep.
two people that are known for injuries lately. That's not a good combo.
That's why they're
Maybe
in
neither
opposite
one of
blocks.
them make it to the final because they're both hurt. They're gonna have to fucking. Is he gonna pull him out like the New Japan does and then just not even replace him? Just pull him off the motherfucker?
No, this is why I have them in opposite blocks, and then that'll be the final.
They can't get. If they can't get to the final.
They'll be all right.
Oh my god. Okay. Okay.
Who's gonna hurt Danielson, man? Cassidy?
Everyone that you put
No.
in there. That's why you.
Jeff
Because
Jarrett?
you just stacked it from fucking top to bottom as all main event dudes. Is what you just did. What do
A
you-
block's not. No, listen. A block is not anybody that's gonna hurt Danielson. It's Danielson, Swerve, Hangman, Cassidy, Jeff Jarrett.
Hangman
Miro.
is not gonna hurt him.
No, they'll be all right.
Okay. Fucking Andrade just hurt him with the same type of move that Hangman does as a finisher.
He'll be all right.
Okay, guy.
Andrade is not.
He
a
hit
safe
him right
worker.
across the face with a clothesline and fucked him up.
It's different.
But Hangman can't do that. Hangman's
Andrade is much
whatever,
stronger.
dude. Andrade's in my shit. Imagine me seeing 3 straight Andrade matches against him and Lance Archer, him versus Hobbs, and him versus Miro. 3 straight matches. Holy shit! And then
If
he
I-
gets to fight Danielson again too. Oh my
If I don't-
god, dude,
if
that'd
I
be
don't
sick.
put in
You
Jeff
go on your
Jarrett.
that's how Andrade comes out of my group B because he just destroys everyone and breaks all their faces.
If I don't put in Jeff Jarrett, because I know that some people will be.
You don't need to be putting Jeff Jarrett into a round
I
robin
would-
tournament. If it was a regular like Owen, I wanted him in the Owen Hart tournament. If you remember correctly, remember I wanted him versus Dustin in the first round because they actually both had direct connections to Owen Hart. That would have been that would have been cool with me. In a round robin tournament, dude, no, not a chance.
If I were to replace Jarrett, it would probably be with Archer or Andrade. I don't know which one yet, but I like putting Jarrett in there.
Who's coming out of your 2 groups? Omega and Danielson,
Omega and Danielson, yeah.
and then who you got winning the whole thing?
I don't know. Depends on a lot of things.
I'm surprised
Which
you didn't put
one's
Osprey in there. Why is the Osprey not in there? We can have
Osprey's-
people from other companies. If we can send our people over there, Moxley and Eddie Kingston over there, why didn't you put Osprey in yours?
He's not technically with AEW yet, and I don't know
Doesn't
what those
matter.
obligations look like. Yeah. I think it's a bit harder to get people to come do.
You think this
AEW
first one
for
will just be
months
more
at a time.
traditional, and maybe he'll do that later down the line type deal?
What, bring in some New Japan guys?
Yeah, maybe,
Give them
yeah.
over for like a month or 2.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see
How-
why it wouldn't benefit them if it benefited New Japan. Like with the relationship that they have, be like, hey, send a couple people to your G1. You can send a couple people to when we have our Continental Classic thing, like a Shingo or a Ishii. I'd be cool
So
with that. So
the
now let's
AEW
redo it now with New Japan dudes.
Oh, it's
So
like
now we're
epic.
adding Okada
Ask him.
and Naito and and Osprey. We're adding all these dudes in there.
So this thing is like at the pay-per-view is like the very, very, very back
Yes,
end
December
of
30th. Correct.
Yeah,
December
so
30th.
We're looking at like a month and a half.
Of straight wrestling, yes. They're gonna. He was like announcing all the dates and shit during the thing or whatever. But it's gonna be like, from this week to the rest of the year, it's gonna have Continental Classic matches. It's gonna be insane.
Yeah.
I assume that
Good.
they'll be replacing the rankings page with the results of this, like the stats or standings or whatever.
But that's speaking of the rankings. That's kind of what I was getting at with bringing up like putting Wardlow or Samoa Joe or whoever in this, is that Samoa Joe, his storyline does lead to him having a good reason for a shot. If MJF asks him for help in the tag match, they do it, then he owes Joe a shot or whatever. But Wardlow doesn't really have like a good claim to a championship match. So if you do put him in something like this, it still makes sense. You can say, oh, he's already involved in a story or whatever. He is in the story, but he doesn't have a good storyline reason for Tony to book him in the match. So that's That's what I was getting at with just because
Well, I mean,
vying
it's
for it
MJF.
currently.
All you have to do is piss off MJF enough, and he'll give you like 3 things that you have to do to fight him. That's how that story always goes. So what are you talking about?
Yeah,
That's all
it
you have
used
to do.
be
Keep
that way.
pissing MJF off to the point where he gets so pissed, like, oh, you want a piece of me? Okay, well, you can have a shot at the world title if you do A, B, C, and then Wardlow goes out and does it, and then he does it.
And then you have to, all that weird shit. Yeah.
All right, that's our fantasy booking of the Continental Classic. A rough booking idea. I can't wait to see it though. I really wish he would, like, you want to really fucking troll people with that announcement that was not announced as an announcement. You should have told us all 12 of the dudes. That would have fucked people up. Like, that was just so much, that would have been so much information to process at one time. I thought it would have been hilarious if you just literally announce a stacked roster like what me or you were saying.
Oh, we're
Those
going to
guys.
know in what, 3
People would
days?
have been like, what the fuck? Hey, you already know that it's starting this week. I do not want to go. When we go into a G1, do you not know all the participants that are going to be in the G1?
That's what I'm saying. We're going to know
Okay,
in 3
well,
days.
Wednesday is not that far away. Can we get the groups, please?